you've got Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron this weekend. Next weekend, obviously, Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. It's a fortnight of rivalries, isn't it?
It's huge. Two monsters. Whittaker Cameron is biggest fight of the year so far. It really is. It's taken into a world life of its own. It's been a crazy build-up. It's been 6 months really of build-up, and it all comes down to Sunday night. The attention's been crazy. Obviously, Eubank Ben is ridiculous, but this is massive. And so 2 weeks, two huge main events, two British rivalries, two real rivalries, as you said, and I can't wait.
And I feel like everyone in this room is going to have asked you what happened with the rounds and everything, so I'm not going to go into that too deeply. One thing I did want to ask, why did you feel strongly that this should be a 10-round fight?
Well, it was a rematch, and it was always agreed that it was going to be 10 rounds. Just because a mistake on one form doesn't change what the fight is, doesn't change what's been agreed, doesn't change what people are preparing for. And so, for me, it wasn't a Ben Whittaker issue, it wasn't a Liam Cameron issue, it was a boxer issue. So we had to sort that out. And did I think it would be sorted out very quickly? Absolutely. I mean, it was spotted weeks and weeks ago, 2 days after things got passed through. But it's boxing, and we've had a good time with it. It's been fun, but now we have a huge fight, and shit gets serious.
And they were both sat up there at the press conference, both saying, I've got no animosity for the other man, but I noticed a lot of tension up there. That neither of them looked at each other at any point. Do you think there is a real rivalry underneath it all?
I genuinely think they both have no ill feeling to each other whatsoever. I think the reality is there's a lot of pressure on them both. It's a huge night, it's a huge fight, a lot's been talked about it. Liam Cameron's had a life-changing few months, which I'm happy with, because he's a great guy, and that can happen in boxing. And that's what happens when you fight Ben Whittaker in any sense. You build your profile and you get more opportunities. And so, delighted for him. Delighted that Ben Whittaker gets the headline back in Birmingham on such a big card. I've never seen a fighter that demands the attention like he does, especially this early on in his career. It's quite phenomenal. You know, you think of the Gervonta Davises, the Ryan Garcias in the States. It feels like we've got one here. And so, both of them have a huge night. Ben deserves a lot of credit for wanting the rematch straight away, and I'm looking forward to him putting on a statement on Sunday.
And it's going to be a bit of a night for Olympians and Olympic medalists with something to prove. Big phrase, Fraser Clark's back in that ring. Just talk us through what the road back has been like for him after that crushing defeat to Fabio Wardley.
Listen, it's an absolutely massive night for Fraser Clark. I did not expect him to see him in the ring in April after what happened in October. It was a night that I'll always remember. It's a night that I'll always believe. At that time, I wasn't sure what would happen to Fraser. All I saw was his injury. It was dealt with really quickly. Credit to the doctors in Riyadh, because without them we wouldn't be seeing him back this quickly. But credit to Fraser as well. It takes a lot of mental strength. It takes a lot of resilience and balls to go through what he'd gone through, and then come back even more motivated, even more ready to go. Take a fight like Tete straight away, and then he wants the British title. So he'll learn from it. He's one of the most popular heavyweights this country has. He can be in some absolutely massive fights, massive nights, and he's a very talented fighter. Anything can happen in heavyweight boxing, as we saw in October versus the war that we saw in March. So I'm glad that he's back, and I'm looking forward to the journey, and he wants that British title, so he's got a big eye on the winner of Jamie TKB against David Adela.
And is that the first time that you've seen a fighter threaten another fighter with hot peppers at a press conference?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Look, that press conference was so entertaining. You know, this card, every fight from Bradley Goldsmith to Elliot Well against Lucas Ballingall to Mark Jeffers returning, which I'm really looking forward to Sam Eggington against Lee Cutler, which could steal the show, Tyler Denny against Elvis Algarode, which has just been mental back and forth, Fraser Clark obviously with Tete, as you said. It's phenomenal, and there's so many fights that can steal the show. Obviously the main event is getting all the headlines, and that's what it is. But Easter Sunday, if you've not watched boxing before, and I think there's going to be a lot of fans tuning in for the first time, the hype that this has around it, the fact that it's not on pay-per-view, the fact that it's free to air for anyone on after the football, so it's going to do massive numbers, and it's going to be good from the word go.
And you touched upon it there. At each one of these cards that we sponsor, obviously there's a Betfred fight of the night, but Ben, I think you might have given us a Betfred fight of the year with Lee Cutler and Sam Eggington, one that I absolutely cannot wait to see. Just tell people what to expect from that one. It's going to be a war, isn't it?
Sam Eggington only knows one way, and I've worked with him a few times now, and he wanted that fight to get his name back in the mix. And when you look at Lee Cutler and the fights that he only knows one way. That fight against Stephen McKenna was one of the biggest swings I've ever seen. He was losing the fight. It looked as though Stephen McKenna was only getting stronger and stronger, and Lee just found the heart and the balls from somewhere to turn the fight around, to drag himself back through the fight. It was one of the most entertaining fights I've ever seen. And so now to be taking that energy into the guy that has won Fight of the Year more times than any fighter in this country, Sam Eggington, it's going to be absolutely crazy. I have to say, Elliot Well against Lucas Ballingall also has a great fight written all over it. But yeah, in particular, that fight's going to be special.
And if we can just pivot to the following weekend, obviously it's the fight that I think British boxing is sort of waiting for, has been orbiting around this year. Obviously your man Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn. Is it going to be the biggest British fight of this year?
It is the biggest. It will be the biggest. I expect Chris Eubank Jr. to do the business. I think he sold the fight really well. I think he's been classy throughout the build-up. He's dealt with everything really well, and he's a superstar, isn't he? So I cannot wait. I think he's gonna light it up in Tottenham next week. It's going to be a phenomenal spectacle. It's a great card. Vidal Riley, I think, can steal the show as well against Shep Clark. Chris Billen-Smith in potentially fight of the night against Brandon Glanson. Amazing night, but as I say, Eubank Jr. for the win.
Are you going to be checking Chris Eubank Jr.'s pockets before the press conference next week?
I was waiting for him to send some money to me, to be honest. But no, look, when Chris says he does something, he does it, good or bad. You can't stop him. He is a very principled man. I knew as soon as he said that he was going to do something, he was going to do it. Let's see if Eddie keeps to his bet and does the same as Chris Eubank Jr.
I was going to ask about that because obviously when the egg incident took place, there was a little bit of a set to between yourself and Eddie Hearn. I just wonder, has the relationship recovered from that? What are you guys like now?
I think we're fine. I've got nothing against Eddie. Nothing against him whatsoever. We've got a great fight together next week. He's going to be disappointed. But nothing against Eddie whatsoever, honestly.
Was it disappointing that Chris Eubank Sr. seemed to come out against the fight this week? Obviously, I think we all hoped that he would be involved in the build-up in the same way that Nigel Benn has with Conor. Was it disappointing to see Sr. sort of be against this as a fight? It
was, but ultimately he has his opinions, and it is what it is. I didn't like the personal stuff. I think that should stay out of the way. I think people have to understand what he's been through and what mental state he might be in at times, especially in an environment like that. So for me, I don't want to get involved in that personal stuff. It's not healthy. Chris Eubank Jr. is focused on his fight. He has his team. He's ready to win next week. And the carry on, the personal stuff, it's got nothing to do with what happens next week.
Absolutely. Now, we've been asking everyone for their predictions for that fight. Obviously, you were going to say Chris Eubank Jr. wins, so I'm going to push you a little bit further. I spoke to Eddie Hearn this week. He said Conor Benn win in 6 rounds, so I'm going to push you for either a round prediction or decision for Chris Eubank Jr.
I'll match Eddie. I think if Chris wants to, he finishes it in 6 rounds. I really believe that. I'm glad Eddie's got so much confidence in his man, but you know, Chris is a much superior boxer, a much superior talent, and he'll definitely show that next week.
Great stuff. Ben Shalom, thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you very much. Cheers.